Hello everyone, I believe I am live. This is Mike Levin, Poconos Pythonista, just doing a miscellaneous video about life. And as I was getting ready here, I spilled a little bit of my coffee, and I figured I'd just clean that up real quick, exercise the 80-20 rule. Minimum cleaning necessary to make my immediate goings on right now successful. And I wanted to just point out a few things. I am out here in the Poconos renting, thinking I would never do yard work again, but my kid wanted to jump into piles of leaves. So I actually used the leaf blower that I had from the old Catskills place, and did a big pile of leaves for Addie to jump in. And we got some wonderful experiences in that that were part of my childhood, and I never really thought were going to be part of her childhood. And when she was like, well, rake up a pile of leaves, I was like, ugh. And it was like almost stunning flashback to me, but I did, and we had a wonderful time, and I'm glad I'm able to give her those memories. I also have what you might have seen in my last live stream, a rope swing back here, which is sort of a tribute to my father, who put up a rope swing like that for my childhood, me and my sister. And to this day, it is like neuro-mapped inside of my head so entirely. I think I'm just gonna run down there and jump on it for a second. I don't know how much of that leaf pile jump got into that video, but that was fun. I think I'll do it again. A little better centered there. So I have tons of stuff around just for miscellaneous stuff to do, fun, happy activities. And I labeled this live video Getting Over the Hump, because it's, I guess, talking about several things. By the way, this is my cat Charlie. Hello, Charlie. I want to say hi to the live audience. He has no idea what's going on. I'll give him what he wants. He's got his own special way of getting his affections. He changes directions. Where's my Charlie? Oh, wrong direction, Charlie. Good kitty. Come on over this way. There you go. That's a good Charlie. Charlie loves his affections. He didn't start that way. This guy was the runt of the pack. And if any of you are familiar with my old cats, Billy and Sammy, the big boys, they were really big boys. It was King Sammy, and it was Billy Stretch. And they were quite larger than life. So larger than life, in fact, that this guy just sort of faded into the background. Not for lack of trying, but there was a point in my life where we were up to about 15 pets, and poor little Charlie did not get the kind of one-on-one, I guess uninterrupted, because, you know, he got plenty of one-on-one, but the thing is, there were always multiple other cats and such in the picture, and a big dog that was a little bit much for this gentle little spirit. And it wasn't until recently, until cat-wise, it got down to just him before he started coming out of his shell. We got another little kitten, Linny. Charlie is no big fan of Linny, but he's, I guess, gradually over time warming up in the form of growling less at her, and the interaction is never really claws out. There's a fair share of smacking, cat smacking. It's kind of funny to see. And yeah, so it's just a delight seeing this little boy, super fast, super sleek, come on his own. We used to say Charlie loves affection, but hates people, and that is completely not true. That was a false myth we were kind of making in our family. Charlie loves people. Charlie hates loud noises, lots of activity around him that could be threats. Charlie likes more of a kind of a relaxed state. Charlie is the big Meowski. And yeah, so he's a good boy. And it's really satisfying giving him his affection, because he was starved for it. A late starter, getting over the hump, right? So this video, I had to come up with a title that seemed like a kind of stupid thing at the time, because when you're doing an open-ended video, who knows what you're going to talk about. But I figured getting over the hump was something that was on multiple facets of my life, and you know, not just my life, but this guy's life. He's about 14 years old, so in cat years he's up there. He's like 70 or something, and you know, I'm getting there myself. I don't feel it, but I, you know, intellectually admit to myself that I'm 50 years old now, and emotionally certainly not. I'm a much younger person than 50 years old, and the challenges never stop. The new things I'm trying to do never stop, and so getting over the hump is not only for being 50 years old, the hump in the life, sort of the midpoint if you're really optimistic and give yourself like 100 years. which I'm doing. It's also getting over a hump in work. And specifically, these are things that come up every once in a while in one's professional life. The nature of the work is changing. I was what was, I guess, considered a more traditional or perhaps technical search engine optimizer, SEO. That is, I help influence what comes up in search when you type things into Google. So I wish face recognition actually worked for me. I wouldn't have to do this. But this thing is getting on in years a little bit, and the face recognition I have to keep redoing once in a while. I keep this screen sort of flush against its seating with Scotch tape now. It's probably getting close to time for me to get a new laptop, but I might wait. This is the Surface Book Pro 2. I might wait, and the 3 is out. I might actually even wait for the 4 because it's good to skip a generation. I don't want just one ahead. Although I had to wait so long for this thing to be revved. As you can see, it's not really a laptop form factor so much as it is a portfolio form factor. And it's got a top quality keyboard, which is really important for me because it's all about muscle memory. And so when you're getting over the hump, a lot of preservation of capability is about not losing your muscle memory to different things in life that try and reset your muscle memory, namely switching platforms. Major things about your platforms, keyboard layouts, especially the software interface and the API, which is why, and you see stuff running, I'll probably quit out of it to show you a from scratch beginning. We were just watching Star Trek Next Generation, The Inner Light, season 5, episode 25, which is that one where Picard has a whole nother life from a probe that inserts it into his head so that they would know who they are. And I'm going to close out of my browser and close out of Netflix and show you how even on Windows 10, you can really make it your platform, and you can make it a generic platform where all that, operating system and platform dependent stuff sort of fades into the background. And the main thing is to have keyboard shortcuts. And the way Windows 10 works is when you leave a shortcut out on your desktop, you can right-click it, bring up its properties, and inside its properties, set a keyboard shortcut. And I use Control-Alt because they tend to not be used very frequently as a keyboard combination in software because they don't want you doing Control-Alt-Delete or whatever from the olden days. So all my different keyboard shortcuts are Control-Alt something, and it's whatever letter I left out. I can recognize by the icon what program it is, but most of them just make sense. C for Chrome, E for Edge, V for VS Code. But Control-Alt-T is by far my most common one. That brings up Microsoft Terminal, which I'm now bringing up in as much focused mode as I possibly can, which really just means I don't have tabs showing. There's a way to even get rid of this upper bar here, which once it's running, you can do function F11, and this is complete focus mode. I can't wait till Windows terminals can come up in complete focus mode. I can wait. Function F11. It's okay to have this little bar up here and the start bar at the bottom that shows you what's running. A little bit operating system dependent, but not so much different from the Mac or Ubuntu or anything else you might be on. The desktop shouldn't matter. The graphical desktop shouldn't matter. It's just a way of getting to your terminal. And here's your terminal. And then I have keyboard shortcuts set in the terminal environment so that I hit J, enter, and that brings up Vim with my journal, which I showed you a few times. The world is your checklist, so look around, organize, visualize, prioritize, chip away. And 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, question mark, make step ones occur. You're always on step one. I'm sort of the perpetual noob in all this. And then, of course, my little poem, of which the last paragraph is the most pertinent. The 80-20 rule just asks you to start to plan your tasks. So when you're only 1/5 done, you could have stopped and still have won. Now that's kind of interesting because of the whole getting over the hump thing. I'm 50. So according to the 80-20 rule, it's perfect math for doing easy calculations. All your hands and your toes, that's 20. If you were to make each one worth 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. I've used up all my fingers on my hands. I only have my toes left. So you have as many years in your life as you have fingers and toes if you make each one a 5-year unit. And the 80-20 rule says, you should really front load as much as you can. So when you're only 1/5 done, a 20-year-old person, 5, 10, 15, 20, that is 1/5, because the rest of it, 20 over 80, that is the same as 2 over 8, which is the same as 2 over, so yeah, 1 over 4, 1/4. So I'm saying 1/5, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. No, I'm right. I did a quarter instead of a fifth, but 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So on your hand, if it's fingers and toes, when you're only 1/5 done, 5, 10, 15, 20, 20 out of 80, that's what I did wrong. So I think I have to go another 2 in order to get, so I should have, at a hand and 2 thumbs, have done everything in my life that I was planning to do if I was taking my own advice. It's front loading your success, organizing things. However, it turns out I am a slow learner. I'm piecing things together. I'm getting over the hump, such as it were. So what I'm doing now is kind of correcting my course. I lose time here and there on different things, and a large part of it is just becoming aware of it. So I hit @J sign, and that brings me to here, where I'm starting a new journal entry, and then I can start thinking about the day. So today, today, question mark. Well, it's my last full day with my daughter before Halloween. So finish her costume with her, but also, hey, someone's seeing me live stream. That is Cats. Hi there. Good to see you. Wow, I've got 2 viewers. So I've been going for about 19 minutes now, and people can actually see me live stream here. So I'm thinking through my day right now, and the most important priority is to finish my Halloween costume with my daughter. In fact, I'm just going to go grab that and bring that out here because it'll help remind me, and I have to do this next step outside anyway. Oops. Go down the other way. Okay, so I'm back. I still have, I have 3 viewers now. So this is gonna be my daughter's Halloween costume. Right now it's just a few pieces of styrofoam, but I'm making Sergeant Frog. And Sergeant Frog is a hero from the Japanese anime manga. I always forget how it's pronounced. But anyway, this is going to go around her head. This is her head hole at the bottom. And then this will be sort of like the thing she sees through in the front, except there's going to be some big eyes on the outside. I left that bag inside, but I'm going to have to make it look like Sergeant Frog. I should probably get that up on the screen here. I'm going to need to look at it as I tape off some areas. So I use these virtual screens so I can arrow key left and right, which is really huge. It's like having multiple monitors once you get into the habit of how to switch, and it's not terribly different between the Mac and Windows and even Ubuntu. The 3-fingered swoosh tends to work, and that's a really nice way to do it. You can see there that I put my journal on the wrong screen. I like to put that on the first screen of like about 7 here. On the second one, I like to have the web browser, and I launch it by launching Jupyter Notebook. But in this case, I'm going to launch just the browser itself. That's Control-Shift-E for Edge. I almost never do that. I do Control-Shift-J for Jupyter Notebook. It launches Jupyter Notebook, which forces the browser to load, in which way I always have my work/play work environment loaded up there. But what I want is Sergeant Frog. And this is what he looks like. So Addie's face is going to have to go into it. So the eyes, the big frog eyes, are going to be here and up there. But what I need to do now is to figure out how this piece here becomes that mouth, because she's going to be looking through essentially what is the mouth. So I'm going to mask tape off just enough to get up to where the tongue is. In fact, I'll masking tape off the tongue part as well to make sort of a white crest over this. So when I spray paint the whole thing green, there's some white crest of her mouth that sort of starts the mouth thing, and then the tongue will come down there, and then her face will be there, and the rest of the frog face and helmet and everything will be above it, and that way she'll be able to see out the front. I expect this thing might be taken off a few times during the course of the night, but and it won't be traditional Halloweening this year, but she's going to remember it for something, and I figure it might as well be the year that Dad actually went all in on helping her with the costume. The rest of the costume is actually used sewing and stuff, which my wife, Natalie, did the sewing portion for Addie. So when Addie got here for the weekend, she was really excited seeing us having spent time on her costume, on the portions she wouldn't necessarily be able to help with so much when she was, that she wouldn't be able to help with so much. I'm going to do some of this because there's really no reason for her to use the spray paint. Maybe there is. Maybe I'll let her do some spray painting, but you can see I just masked off the mouth area there. And I'm going to do this on the ground because I don't really feel like putting out a tarp. I have a tarp, but I already interrupted my wife's yoga once by going in there like a bull in a china shop. And I don't want to do that again. So I have the white part that I want white masked off. And I think I may just point this down at the ground and then run around out over to the other side. Did I bring the right? Oh yeah, here's the other bag. Here's the eyes, the frog eyes that are going to go on it. So like that, a lot like Kermit. One there, one there. And here is my spray paint. So I'll just go ahead and point this thing down here. And I'll just come down here, continue the video. These are things that I really guess my dad did with me more when I was a kid. I'm going to take a little tape and put it around the edge there. But my dad had all his energy depleted and used up on almost a daily basis through his 2-hour commute each way to go to New York City for work. So he commuted from Philadelphia, not far from where I'm living now. He drove to 30th Street Station in Philadelphia, which is the train station that goes to Penn Station in New York City. And he did that ride to New York and back every day for 13 years. And my dad was a tired man. And then as I started to grow up and learn that one of the biggest detractors from happiness was the commute, I moved to New York City when I realized that's where the jobs were. And for almost the same 13 years that he commuted, I lived in New York City. And there were still some uncomfortable parallels, even though I overcame that big thing and didn't have the miserable commute every day. Both my father and I were, during that period of time, in marriages that did not work out. So it just goes to show that, you know, the best laid plans, you don't have to stick to your plan to have a good life. You don't have to do things the traditional way or the way people tell you that they should be done in order to have a good life. You can have a good life by deciding in your mind to have a good life. And in that way, when you get to be like 50 years old or whatever, you might still be doing things that brought you joy in your youth. You know, really, what's the difference except that you got better at a few things, wiser, and generally more cynical and less open to ideas and changes and growth. So I would say that one of the key things in getting over the hump is to remain open, to not let an old person's mindset set in to your noggin, because it's easy to become mad, anger. My key pieces of advice to my daughter is that, you know, don't let anger set in. Almost everything can get you angry. There's no limit to the number of things that can upset you, especially if that's how you learn to respond to the world. If getting angry is one of your first lines of defense, you're just going to be angry and finding blame for things your entire life. I myself was incredibly guilty of that. Blaming all the wrong people and things for my woes, namely my sister. I blamed my sister a lot for what happened in my immediate family. And I was certainly love-starved, attention-starved, affection-starved, just like my little Charlie cat. And I'm, much like Charlie, a late bloomer as well. And so I'm making a Kiroro costume for and with my daughter for her 10-year-old Halloween, which is probably not even going to be outside, or at least not door to door this year. I think they're doing something over there in Staten Island. I'll be getting her back in time, or I'll be picking her up after the festivities instead of a Friday night pickup. I'll do a Saturday night pickup after Halloween is over, essentially. And same with her birthday, which is, right after that. I'll probably go over there, spend the day there for her birthday on a Saturday, where she'd normally be over here, so she can be with her Staten Island side homeschooling friends, and then bring her here for the rest of the weekend, which we're blessedly able to extend a little bit into the week because of lockdown and everything. Some of the hidden blessings is that with the official removal of the commute, which I wasn't much doing anyway, but it's a lot easier to have your kid in your life. And she was a homeschooler to begin with, so this craziness, once it began, was really no big deal. And so yeah, today is one of those lazy starting days, because she loves to stay up late, and I had some things to start outside. Do I even have viewers? I have 3 viewers still. Wow, and 5 thumbs up. I guess I'll keep talking. So no sponsorship or anything, but I'm using here a Design Master color tool spray. I'll give it a little bit of time to dry, and then I'll do a second and maybe a third layer. And then I'll get back to my stuff up around here. I'm gonna run back up. Back to where I was. So I was talking about with my journal stuff how, the world is your checklist, so look around. What's most broken? These are my 3 metaphors. What's most broken? Where's the biggest bang for the buck? And what plates need to be spun? So this is when I start my journal. What's most broken? Well, what's most broken is my perpetual fear that my kid is going to have a childhood that she's going to have to recover from, from the divorce and stuff. So I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that she has fond memories and is emotionally stable and such. And I'm helping my wife through times, getting into normalcy. Loving, caring, nurturing environment, that sort of thing. People having the time and the space in their heads and their environments to get familiar with who they are. Where's the biggest bang for the buck? Well, the Halloween costume and preparation for her birthday, I do believe. And I'm thinking on multiple fronts. So what's most broken professionally is getting over this hump of Chrome automation. You can see I'm using Microsoft Edge here, but I also have Chrome set up here, and I do things now that automate both Edge and Chrome for various things in my professional career. And what's most broken is me finishing a couple of these automations that are important for work. And where do I get the biggest bang for the buck? It would be to get over that hump and to perhaps share it with the world. So I'll probably do a screencast later today where I walk through that actual thing. And it has a lot to do with prevent obsolescence prevention. So I'll be dabbling in JavaScript for the first time in a long while. but it's got to be done. And even though my choices for obsolescence proofing professionally are Linux, Python, Vim, and Git, still nonetheless got to dabble in JavaScript for Chrome automation. That's the biggest bang for the buck. And what plates need to be spun? Well, I need to check some numbers, make sure that some numbers have been generated for the weekend, which are my big work priority. And let's see, other plates that need to be spun, just making sure that Nat and Addie are into things that are making them happy. So you can see the checklist thing already. I spray painted her frog head. Yeah, I'm just gonna do there, let it dry, and apply several coats of paint. So that's that. And after that, do the eyes and do the hat. Need more. And so maybe a trip to Michael's is in the cards for today. Yeah, let's see. Is it time to start the screencast? Hen's too cold. Take it inside. Yeah, I'm not going to keep working out here, as tempting as it is, unless I light the fire over in the fireplace there and work really close to the heat. I'm not going to be really typing outside very long. My fingers, digits are getting cold. So I'll just point out once more this wonderful environment. You know, this is why I got out of New York City with lockdown. If I can't, you know, have a nice big apartment in lockdown living in the city because you get so little money for the dollar, I might as well have, you know, space, being able to walk out, have a big yard, be able to camp in our yard, have a nice campfire going, and have that, you know, stuff that we fell in love about the mountains over in the Catskills are just our everyday thing here in the Poconos, not so different from the Shawangunk Ridge over to the Poconos, and have surprisingly similar experiences to my childhood growing up, like raking and jumping into a big pile of leaves. So that was just a real gift yesterday. I think that's where I'm gonna wrap up. So this is where I say thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon, and thanks for, I guess, being part of my life this little bit this morning.